Have you ever thought about uncovering the secrets behind investments that truly change the game? Philip Fisher, one of the most influential investors of all time, revealed techniques that transform the market and continue to inspire even the biggest names in the industry. Contrary to what many believe, you don't need to chase trends or rely on luck to achieve extraordinary profits. Fisher proved that the key is understanding the hidden potential of companies, going beyond the numbers. Want to know how to identify innovative businesses and seize opportunities that few see? Stay with me as we explore these historical and intelligent strategies together. The pioneering spirit of Philip Fisher and his impact on the world of investments. Philip Fisher is recognized as one of the great names in the world of investments for his innovative, long-term, growth-oriented perspective. Unlike most investors of his time, who focused on quick profits, Fisher viewed the market with curiosity and depth, thoroughly exploring companies before investing. His approach involved meticulous research, investigating details often overlooked by other analysts, such as management quality and talent retention. This model became a benchmark in the market, shaping how many investors today analyze and choose their assets. Furthermore, Fisher was an explorer of the mysteries behind companies and believed that for an investment to be successful, it was essential to deeply understand the growth potential of products and services. He didn't seek extraordinary gains solely from market value. Rather, he looked to identify a kind of hidden value, something he called intangible quality in companies. Fisher wanted to know, for example, whether the company was innovative in its sector, if it had a strong competitive positioning, and, most importantly, if consumers were loyal to its brand. This innovative focus proved to be one of the most influential and inspiring strategies in the history of investments. His book, Common Stocks and Uncommon Profits, revolutionized the way company analysis was conducted, offering a guide that went beyond numbers. In this book, Fisher emphasizes that research should include direct conversations with employees, customers, competitors, and even suppliers of the company, a technique known as deep investigation that Fisher popularized. The idea is to gain a comprehensive, human, and honest view of the company to assess whether it truly has the growth potential it seems to. This practice not only proved effective, but also sparked a general interest in analyzing businesses in a smarter and more strategic manner. Fisher also taught that investors should be critical and patient. He believed that by understanding the natural cycle of a company and management practices, it would be possible to predict trends and act more informed. Instead of chasing trends or investing based on market euphoria, Fisher advocated for a deep analysis of the company's history and goals. For example, he observed how much the company invested in research and development and how that reflected in new product launches. This broader perspective was what he used to differentiate extraordinary companies from mediocre ones. Another essential point in Fisher's philosophy is the long-term view. He believed that the best investments were those that could be held for years, allowing growth to happen naturally. This was particularly significant at a time when many investors sought quick profits, trying to time the market. Fisher, on the other hand, showed that true intelligence lay in identifying companies with a solid foundation and prospects for future expansion. Investing in them and keeping them in the portfolio with patience and intelligence was, for Fisher, the key to achieving extraordinary results. It is important to note that Fisher's approach was grounded in finding companies with a clear differential and purpose. He encouraged investors to look for businesses committed to positively impacting their sectors, such as those bringing innovation or improvement to consumers' lives. Fisher believed that these elements, however intangible, were essential for sustaining growth. Great examples of companies following these principles are today's technology giants, which value innovation and build a solid base of loyal customers. Philip Fisher was a true master at combining what he considered intangible elements with the financial value of companies. For him, understanding corporate culture, leadership, and even internal processes was essential to knowing where to invest. And it is this human and detailed approach that transformed Fisher into a legend. His teachings remain alive, inspiring a new generation of investors to look beyond the numbers and explore the extraordinary phenomena that make a company unique and influential. Fisher's in-depth research methodology. Philip Fisher developed a methodology that goes beyond conventional analyses, introducing the concept of in-depth investigation. This method consists of gathering detailed information from various sources, not just financial numbers or annual reports. He believed that to truly understand a company's potential, it was necessary to talk to people close to the business: employees, customers, suppliers, and even competitors. Each conversation revealed insights that were invisible in balance sheets or graphs, helping to unravel the mysteries of an organization's true strength. Fisher emphasized the importance of investigating management quality. To him, leaders were the key players in transforming a good company into an extraordinary one. He analyzed whether executives were innovative, whether they had a long-term vision, and, most importantly, whether they demonstrated integrity in their decisions. Fisher knew that in a world where the pressure for immediate results was constant, few leaders dedicated themselves to building something truly influential and lasting. Thus, he sought those willing to navigate difficulties without compromising the company's quality or values. A practical example of this methodology can be found in companies like Amazon. If Fisher were investigating the company in its early years, he would likely have talked to suppliers to understand the business relationship, customers to gauge satisfaction, and competitors to assess the impact of innovation. This type of analysis reveals nuances that would be hard to capture by less diligent investors. And it is precisely this level of depth that gives the investor the confidence to hold a position long-term, even in times of volatility. Another crucial aspect of Fisher's methodology is what he called qualitative checkpoints. He suggested that investors analyze factors such as the company's profit reinvestment policy, its attitude toward innovation, and its ability to attract top talent. Imagine a company that consistently reinvests in research and development. This not only demonstrates a commitment to the future, but also indicates intelligent, growth-oriented leadership. Fisher knew that these qualitative factors, however subtle, were powerful indicators of long-term success. Fisher also believed that companies should have a unique product or service, something that provided a competitive advantage difficult to replicate. He looked for companies whose products could solve real problems or create value in innovative ways. This is where the concept of a moat or competitive moat comes into play. Companies with ample resources and a loyal customer base typically stood out in his analyses. Sustainable growth for Fisher always started with a well-established market advantage. Another fascinating characteristic of his approach was the patience in seeking results. Fisher knew that even the best companies would face challenges. He believed that investors needed to resist the temptation to sell during temporary downturns, as long as the company's fundamentals remained intact. This long-term view allowed him to identify extraordinary opportunities, while others, focused on quick gains, missed the chance to capitalize on full growth. Finally, Fisher always emphasized the importance of combining in-depth research with instinct and emotional intelligence. He knew that while data was crucial, the market was also driven by emotions and human decisions. The ability to connect with the nuances behind each number made his methodology incredibly powerful and, to this day, influential in the world of investments. Fisher's focus on management and leadership quality. For Philip Fisher, the quality of a company's management was one of the most important aspects to analyze before investing. He believed that exceptional leaders were capable of transforming ordinary companies into extraordinary giants. But what did Fisher really look for in managers? First, he observed whether the leadership had a long-term vision, avoiding impulsive decisions just to please shareholders in the short term. For Fisher, leaders with a strategic mindset were the backbone of any company with solid and influential growth potential. Additionally, Fisher sought managers who demonstrated a genuine commitment to innovation. He believed that companies could only thrive if they were constantly adapting to change and exploring new territories. A modern example of this principle would be Google, whose leadership encourages constant experimentation, resulting in products and services that shape our daily lives. Fisher understood that innovative managers not only created financial value, but also fostered an inspiring and resilient corporate environment in the face of challenges. Another important point that Fisher analyzed was the internal communication of the company. To him, transparency was fundamental. He observed how leaders communicated with their teams and shareholders, valuing those who were honest and clear, even in difficult times. Fisher knew that leadership that hides problems or manipulates information can undermine the trust of everyone involved. Therefore, he advocated that investors seek companies with leaders who adopt an open and accessible stance, demonstrating accountability in their actions. Ethics in leadership was also a crucial factor in Fisher's analysis. He believed that companies led by integrity-driven leaders were better prepared to face crises and gain market trust. Integrity, according to Fisher, was a rare and valuable trait that directly influenced organizational culture. In his investigations, he did not hesitate to seek opinions about the character of managers, ensuring that they acted fairly toward employees, customers, and business partners. This care for ethics often prevented unpleasant surprises in the future. Fisher was also interested in managers' ability to attract and retain talent. He knew that a successful company depended on intelligent and motivated people. Thus, he investigated whether leaders create an environment where employees could grow and feel valued. Companies that prioritize the development of their professionals tend to be more innovative and competitive, something Fisher considered essential for long-term success. He understood that leaders who invested in their teams were, in fact, investing in the company's own growth. One of the most emblematic examples of Fisher's philosophy can be seen in Apple's history under Steve Jobs' leadership. Although Fisher did not invest directly in the company, Jobs' obsession with excellence, combined with his long-term vision and commitment to innovation, embodied the principles that Fisher valued so much. It is this type of inspiring leadership that Fisher believed could transform companies into extraordinary phenomena with a historical and lasting impact. Finally, Fisher emphasized that the best managers were those who not only led but inspired. He knew that companies guided by charismatic and visionary leaders had a greater chance of thriving, even in highly competitive markets. This emphasis on leadership as a competitive differentiator remains one of Fisher's most intelligent and influential contributions to the world of investments. Fisher's quest for companies with lasting competitive advantages. Philip Fisher was a master at identifying companies with what he called lasting competitive advantages. To him, this was one of the main factors ensuring a company's consistent growth over the years. These advantages could take various forms, from a strong and recognized brand to a highly efficient production process or an incredibly loyal customer base. Fisher knew that the harder it was for competitors to replicate these advantages, the stronger the company's position in the market would be. A practical example of this is Coca-Cola, which built a brand so influential that its products are recognized and consumed globally, even amid countless competitors. Fisher would observe the power of the brand, the efficiency of its distribution, and the relationship with its consumers. He knew that companies with these extraordinary characteristics could weather crises and maintain their relevance, regardless of market fluctuations. This type of differentiated analysis allowed him to invest confidently in truly promising businesses. Fisher also sought companies with an innovative portfolio of products or services capable of meeting the ever-changing needs of consumers. He analyzed whether the company was ahead of trends, creating solutions that competitors had yet to consider. Think of how Tesla positioned itself in the electric car market, developing technologies that change industry standards. Fisher would look for exactly this type of innovation, something that would provide the company with a moat to keep it protected from competition. Another essential point for Fisher was the company's ability to retain customers, turning them into true brand advocates. Companies that create unique, high-quality experiences can build lasting relationships with their consumers. Fisher knew that this loyalty not only generated recurring revenue, but also made the company less vulnerable to market changes. He believed that instead of investing millions in advertising to attract new customers, companies should focus on providing real value to existing customers. Furthermore, Fisher valued companies that operated in sectors with high barriers to entry. These barriers could be stringent regulations, high capital requirements, or complex technologies. These characteristics ensured that new competitors could not easily enter the market, protecting the company's profit margins and market share. He knew that the higher the barrier, the greater the company's ability to sustain long-term growth without being threatened by new players. Another important factor Fisher observed was the company's ability to create economies of scale. Companies that can produce on a large scale, reducing their unit costs, have a significant advantage over smaller competitors. Fisher sought organizations that utilize this economy wisely, passing some of the benefits on to customers or reinvesting in innovation. This model, in addition to strengthening the company's position, made it more competitive in terms of price, further enhancing its market advantage. Finally, Fisher believed that a company with a competitive advantage should be a reference in its sector, both in terms of products and market leadership. He was not satisfied with companies that merely followed trends. He looked for those that set the pace and transformed entire industries. In Fisher's view, these businesses were true phenomena, capable of surviving market storms and standing out historically. The importance of continuous innovation, according to Fisher. For Philip Fisher, continuous innovation was one of the fundamental pillars of a company's success. He believed that without innovation, even the most promising businesses could fall into mediocrity or, worse, lose relevance in the market. Fisher saw innovation as the engine driving extraordinary growth, helping companies stand out amidst fierce competition. He investigated whether the company consistently invested in research and development, seeking new ways to improve its products, services, and processes. Fisher believed that innovative companies were more likely to create products that not only met existing demands, but also anticipated future needs. He often analyzed how companies utilize technology to enhance their efficiency or provide unique experiences to customers. A clear example of this principle is Apple, which revolutionized the technology industry with the launch of the iPhone. Fisher would value this ability to transform entire sectors with disruptive innovations, something that would become a competitive differentiator. Innovation for Fisher did not need to be limited to new products. He also observed companies that innovated in their internal processes, such as more efficient ways of producing or distributing their products. An example of this would be Amazon, which innovated in the logistics sector with its rapid and highly efficient delivery system. For Fisher, this type of operational innovation could be as important as a major invention, as it directly impacted profits and customer satisfaction. Fisher also recognized that the company culture was essential for sustaining innovation. He looked for businesses where leadership encouraged creativity and experimentation without fear of failure. Companies that punished mistakes or were excessively conservative were typically not on Fisher's radar. He knew that innovation required an environment where people felt safe to propose bold ideas. This type of corporate culture was a clear indicator that the company was prepared to face future challenges with intelligence and flexibility. Another interesting point in Fisher's philosophy was his focus on companies that managed to balance innovation and financial efficiency. He was not interested in organizations that invested recklessly in projects without clear returns. Instead, Fisher valued those that innovated strategically, aligning costs with potential benefits. He believed this balance was crucial for ensuring sustainable growth and preventing the company from getting lost in unprofitable initiatives. Fisher also emphasized that continuous innovation needed to be accompanied by impeccable execution capability. It was not enough to have good ideas. It was essential to transform them into high-quality products and services that reached the market at the right time. Companies that failed in execution often wasted their opportunities, while those with well-defined processes managed to reap the benefits of their innovations. Fisher saw execution as the final link in a chain that began with creativity and ended with market success. Finally, Fisher understood that innovation was a journey, not a destination. He believed that companies that did not settle and were always seeking improvements were more likely to thrive in the long run. This spirit of constant evolution was what he saw as a common trait among truly extraordinary companies, capable of overcoming crises, reinventing themselves, and remaining influential for decades. Fisher's vision on the customer relationship and its importance for growth. Philip Fisher always highlighted that a company's relationship with its customers was one of the main indicators of success. He understood that companies that built strong ties with their audience not only ensured a stable revenue base, but also created loyal advocates who spontaneously promoted the business. For Fisher, customer loyalty was a direct reflection of the quality of the products or services offered, as well as the experience provided to the consumer. He valued companies that prioritize extraordinary service, considering it an essential factor for sustainable growth. Fisher believed that, in addition to meeting expectations, companies needed to constantly exceed customer demands. He sought to identify whether the company was attentive to changes in consumer preferences and adapted quickly to these trends. Imagine a technology brand that consistently releases updates to improve its products based on user feedback. Fisher would see this practice as a sign of intelligence and innovation, indicating that the company not only listens to its customers, but also places them at the center of its strategies. Another important point for Fisher was a company's reputation in the market, especially regarding the customer experience. He observed whether the company received consistent praise or, on the contrary, was frequently criticized. For Fisher, a company with a base of satisfied and engaged customers had a much higher chance of achieving extraordinary results in the long run. He recommended that investors directly investigate what consumers thought about the brand, whether through surveys, interviews, or even informal conversations with customers. Fisher also valued companies that did not see their customers merely as numbers or revenue sources, but as growth partners. He liked companies that invested in building a relationship of trust and transparency, offering more than what the customer expected. This type of approach created an emotional connection with the audience, which was a differentiator in highly competitive markets. Companies like Disney, for example, go beyond simple entertainment, providing experiences that create lasting memories, something Fisher would certainly consider extraordinary. Another aspect Fisher analyzed was the company's ability to turn occasional customers into repeat consumers. For him, this was a clear indicator that the business offered real value and consistency. He looked for companies that implemented effective retention strategies, such as loyalty programs or subscription services, that kept the customer engaged over long periods. This type of initiative not only increased the customer's lifetime value, but also reduced the need to spend excessively on acquiring new consumers. Fisher also believed that a successful company should be able to predict its customers' future needs. He valued companies that innovated based on deep analyses of consumer behavior, introducing products or services that customers did not yet know they needed. An example of this would be the creation of streaming platforms like Netflix, which transformed how people consume content. This forward-looking vision allowed companies to position themselves ahead of the competition, solidifying their place in the market. Finally, Fisher understood that the relationship with customers was a two-way street. He believed that companies that prospered the most were those willing to learn from their audience, constantly adjusting their strategies based on feedback. This continuous cycle of learning and adaptation was, for him, one of the most influential factors in the success of any business. The importance of long-term investment in Fisher's philosophy. For Philip Fisher, true success in investments came from patience and a focus on the long term. He believed that the best companies did not reveal their full potential in a few months, but over the years or even decades. Fisher taught that investing in a company with solid growth prospects was like planting a tree. The fruits do not appear immediately, but when they do, they are abundant. This approach contrasted with the speculative mindset of many investors of his time, who sought quick gains without considering the true intrinsic value of businesses. Fisher emphasized that a company's growth was not linear. It happened in cycles, and investors needed to be prepared for periods of stagnation or even decline. But if the fundamentals remained strong, he saw these moments as opportunities to reinforce positions, not abandon them. A classic example of his philosophy would be investing in tech giants like Microsoft, which faced challenges over the years, but overall provided extraordinary returns for those who maintained their patience. Fisher believed that identifying innovative companies with competitive advantages and keeping them in the portfolio was a smart and historically proven strategy. Another fundamental point in Fisher's view was emotional resilience. He knew that the market was influenced by emotions and that fear or greed often led investors to make hasty decisions. To avoid this behavior, he recommended focusing on the purpose of the investment, reaping the results of sustainable growth. Fisher encourages followers to ignore short-term fluctuations and concentrate on the broader picture. This approach, which he described as independent thinking, helped investors remain firm in their convictions, even when the market seemed to act against them. Fisher also highlighted the importance of reinvesting profits over time. He saw this as a powerful way to leverage the effect of compound interest, which, according to him, was a secret to turning modest gains into extraordinary wealth. For example, he admired companies that used their profits to fund research and development or expand their operations rather than distributing excessive dividends. For Fisher, smart reinvestment was a clear sign that the company's leadership was focused on the future, benefiting shareholders in the long run. Additionally, Fisher warned about the danger of following market fads. He knew that many investors were attracted to sectors or companies that were trending, but often lacked solid fundamentals to sustain that growth. Fisher preferred to invest in companies that, although they might not be in the spotlight, had a proven business model and extraordinary growth potential. This differentiated mindset helped his followers avoid pitfalls and build more resilient and influential portfolios over time. Another valuable lesson from Fisher was the importance of making minimal adjustments to the portfolio. He believed that once excellent prospects were identified, the ideal was to maintain those investments unless there was a significant change in fundamentals. This philosophy was based on confidence in his thorough research and the idea that the chosen companies were capable of overcoming obstacles and continuing to grow. Thus, Fisher discouraged a habit of frequently selling, which, in addition to generating additional costs, could lead investors to miss out on significant opportunities. Finally, Fisher saw long-term investing as an act of intelligence and discipline. He knew that the greatest gains came to those willing to wait and who had the vision to see beyond the uncertainties of the present. This approach not only generated impressive financial returns, but also helped investors develop a more mature and strategic mindset, making them less susceptible to market pressures. The role of qualitative analysis in Fisher's investment decisions. Philip Fisher was one of the first to advocate that, to make truly intelligent investment decisions, it was necessary to go beyond the numbers. Although quantitative analysis, such as balance sheets and financial statements, was important, he believed that the true essence of a company could only be captured through qualitative analysis. This meant evaluating more subjective aspects, such as the quality of leadership, organizational culture, innovation, and the company's reputation in the market. Fisher understood that these elements, often considered intangible, could reveal whether a company had the potential to become extraordinary. One of the main focuses of his qualitative analysis was management. Fisher sought to understand how leaders thought and acted. He investigated whether management was visionary, innovative, and ethical. To do this, he did not hesitate to seek information directly from people who had contact with the company, such as employees and suppliers. For example, if a manager was known for maintaining an open and respectful relationship with their team, Fisher saw this as a sign that the company had a solid foundation for growth. He knew that intelligent leadership was an influential piece in long-term success. Another qualitative aspect that Fisher valued was the company's ability to create and sustain competitive advantages. This included understanding the market in which the company operated and how it positioned itself relative to the competition. Fisher analyzed whether the company had something unique to offer, be it an innovative product, a high-quality service, or a differentiated business model. For him, uniqueness was a powerful indicator that the company could achieve and maintain a strong position in the market, ensuring consistent and extraordinary profits. The company's reputation also played a crucial role in Fisher's qualitative analysis. He investigated how consumers perceived the brand and whether they were satisfied with the products or services offered. For him, Companies that built a solid base of loyal customers had a better chance of prospering in the long run. Imagine a company like Johnson & Johnson, which over the decades has become synonymous with trust and quality. Fisher valued this type of relationship, which not only boosted sales but also created a buffer against reputation crises. Fisher also believed that organizational culture was a decisive factor in a company's success. He sought to understand whether the company encouraged collaboration, innovation, and meritocracy. Companies with a strong and positive culture, in Fisher's view, were more resilient and capable of adapting to market changes. An example would be 3M, known for its culture of continuous innovation, which encourages employees to dedicate a portion of their time to creative projects. For Fisher, this mindset was a vital force for sustainable growth. Furthermore, Fisher analyzed the company's approach to risk. He valued companies that were conservative in their finances but bold in their innovation. Fisher knew that the balance between caution and boldness was crucial for ensuring growth without compromising stability. Companies that took excessive risks without adequate planning, or that completely avoided innovation for fear of failure, were not attractive to him. He sought a smart middle ground that demonstrated maturity and strategic vision. Finally, Fisher's qualitative analysis included a component of intuition and experience. He knew that even with all the available research and data, there were times when investors needed to rely on their personal judgment. This confidence came from the combination of deep knowledge and careful observation. Fisher encouraged investors to develop this skill over time, becoming increasingly perceptive and capable of making decisions grounded in a comprehensive understanding of the company, both in its quantitative and qualitative aspects. The relevance of the Scuttlebutt concept in Fisher's strategy. Philip Fisher popularized a research method known as Scuttlebutt, which consisted of collecting information directly from people who had some connection with the company. He believed that to truly understand a business, it was necessary to go beyond financial reports and speak with employees, customers, suppliers, and even competitors. This technique allowed for a richer and more detailed view of the company, revealing aspects that could go unnoticed in traditional analyses. Fisher saw Scuttlebutt as a means to uncover the hidden phenomena that shaped an organization's health and growth. This method was not only innovative but also extremely practical. Imagine you are interested in investing in a retail company. Following Scuttlebutt, Fisher would recommend talking to customers to understand their perception of the brand, suppliers to evaluate the company's financial health and ethics, and even former employees to gain insights into the internal culture. He knew that each perspective contributed to forming a more complete and accurate picture, helping the investor make smarter and more informed decisions. Fisher believed that the key to the success of Scuttlebutt lay in curiosity and the ability to ask the right questions. He suggested that investors seek to understand how the company was managed, how it positioned itself in the market, and what its strategies for the future were. Simple questions, like, what do you think of this company's products, or what is it like to work with them, could reveal crucial information. Fisher argued that the knowledge accumulated from these informal conversations was often more valuable than any number in a balance sheet. Another important point of Scuttlebutt was the ability to identify trends and problems before they reflected in financial results. Fisher knew that by talking to people directly involved with the company, it was possible to catch early warning signs or, conversely, discover extraordinary opportunities. For example, if customers of a company consistently praise the quality of a new product, this could indicate that it would be successful in the market even before sales numbers confirmed it. Fisher also saw Scuttlebutt as a way to test the consistency of the information provided by the company. He sought to verify whether the management statements matched the experiences of customers and partners. If the company claimed to prioritize quality, but suppliers reported constant pressure for cost-cutting, that could be a sign that something was misaligned. This type of qualitative analysis helped Fisher separate truly exceptional companies from those that merely appeared to be. Another benefit of Scuttlebutt was the ability to build an independent market view. Fisher believed that many investors made decisions based on generalized opinions or fleeting trends. Scuttlebutt, on the other hand, provided first-hand information, allowing the investor to form their own opinion. This type of approach was particularly valuable in competitive markets, where accurate and differentiated information could be the key to identifying the best opportunities. Finally, Fisher stressed that Scuttlebutt was an ongoing practice, not something to be done only before investing. He encouraged investors to stay informed, closely monitoring the changes and developments of the companies they had invested in. This constant monitoring helped ensure that the investment remained aligned with the investor's goals and values, creating a solid foundation for future decisions. The lasting impact of Fisher's strategies in the world of investments. The legacy of Philip Fisher is undoubtedly one of the most influential in the history of investments. His strategies and concepts, introduced at a time when the market was dominated by simplistic analyses, continue to be pillars for modern investors. Fisher not only revolutionized the way investors evaluate companies, but also brought a smarter and more strategic mindset to the sector. His approach, which combined curiosity, patience, and qualitative analysis, proved extraordinarily effective, shaping the thinking of great names like Warren Buffett. One of the most fascinating aspects of Fisher's impact is how his ideas transcended generations. Even with the evolution of the market, his strategies remain relevant. He was one of the first to see the market as a space where success depended on both intangible factors and financial data. Today, with the growth of technology and innovation companies, Fisher's concepts regarding qualitative analysis and lasting competitive advantages are more important than ever. His ability to anticipate trends serves as a constant reminder of his extraordinary intelligence. Fisher also transformed how investors think about the long term. He advocated that the market rewards those who are patient and who invest in companies with solid fundamentals and historical growth potential. This vision contrasts sharply with the short-term frenzy that still dominates many parts of the market. By focusing on sustainable growth, Fisher helped shape a new era of investors who seek to deeply understand companies before committing their capital. Moreover, his humanized and practical approach made investing more accessible. He demystified complex concepts and showed that anyone, with the right tools and a curious mindset, could become a successful investor. Fisher encouraged exploration and the pursuit of knowledge, something that many modern investors still embrace. His teachings inspired thousands of people to delve into the stock market and seek companies with extraordinary potential, contributing to the democratization of investing. Fisher's impact is also evident in the strategies of the largest financial institutions in the world. Banks, investment funds, and consulting firms have adopted many of his methods for evaluating businesses and building robust portfolios. The practice of Scuttlebutt, for example, evolved into structured due diligence processes based on field research and direct feedback. This influence of Fisher, still present in the corporate market, reinforces the importance of his contributions and his ongoing relevance. Fisher also brought to light the idea that investing is both an art and a science. He combined technical analysis with intuition and perception, teaching that the market is made up of people, emotions, and behaviors. This more holistic understanding of the market allowed his followers to develop a more balanced and effective approach. Today, many investors use his techniques to capture the human and qualitative side of the market, which often results in smarter and more assertive decisions. Finally, Fisher's impact can be seen in how modern investors prioritize sustainability and social responsibility. Although he never used those terms, his emphasis on ethical leadership and solid business practices reflected values that are now essential for companies seeking to thrive in an increasingly conscious world. Thus, Fisher not only influenced the past, but continues to shape the future of investing, consolidating his position as one of the most extraordinary and influential thinkers in the financial market. Now that you know Philip Fisher's strategies, are you ready to transform your investment approach? What are you waiting for to apply these teachings and explore companies with extraordinary potential? Are you already ignoring an opportunity that could change your financial life? Leave your comment, share your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. This way, you will continue learning and evolving on this journey toward success in the financial market.